when they want to highlight Blackness, they often default to this narrative that centers slavery and servitude. Bueno, mis amores, hoy vamos a hablar de series y películas centradas en la experiencia negra. I don't know about you, pero yo personalmente necesito verme representada. It just hits different. You know what I'm saying? Así que hoy les voy a compartir unas ollitas en español y en portugués que he visto una y otra vez o que tengo en mi lista. No te muevas, vamos a empezar. And these categories are historical foundations, urban and contemporary struggle, music, and cultural sovereignty. Okay, group 1, historical foundations. These works ground Black identity in colonial and post-colonial history. First one is Cien Años de Soledad, the Netflix adaptation. If you have not seen it, go and see it, baby. Go and see it, baby. So this show is based in Colombia in the late 19th to early 20th century. You know, when I first watched it, and even now, I'm still like, what are they saying? But, you know, Colombian, Korean Spanish is just a little different, you know? But yeah, you can watch this on Netflix. What's significant about this is it's based on Gabriel Garcia Marquez's novel. Now, I will say it's not that Black, but it's good enough for me to rock with it, you know, because it does show brown people too. But you do see this experience that is clearly not white colonial. And like, you know, thank goodness. The people are tired. So in this, you're going to get context about Colombian civil wars, banana plantations and exploitation, foreign corporate presence, and colonial layering. Caribbean Colombia is deeply Afro-influenced culturally and linguistically, period. And so for learners, you're going to see literary Spanish. You're going to hear it in the narration. You're also going to see the Caribbean cadence. And then you're going to get vocabulary from that época, that period of time. Really great show. Really recommend. Just saying. Next, La Esclava Blanca. Also based in Caribbean Colombia. And also in the 19th century around the abolition era, speaking a lot of coastal Colombian Spanish as well. And depending on where you're based, you can either find it on Netflix, YouTube, or the Caracol platforms. Now, I'm going to be straight up with you. The name is called La Esclava Blanca.
The white slave.
So the language is going to give you that formal historical register with a bit of slower articulation at times. You got this colonial thing going on. And then the social context that you're going to get from this is the racial caste systems and these different colonial hierarchies. And baby child, this is formatted as, you know, your traditional telenovela type of style of show. So be prepared to have your heartstrings pulled and just roll with the punches. At the end of the day, it is a soap opera. And my dying wish is that they will soon evolve toward showing Black people in way more expansive roles beyond just bondage and slavery and servitude. Okay, this one's in Portuguese, Quilombo. You know, I need to go back and watch it again. I kind of was distracted. But it takes place in Palmares, northeastern Brazil, where you do find a lot of the Afro communities. It's based in the 17th century, and you're going to hear a lot of northeastern Brazilian Portuguese, which will be influenced by the Black people that lived there. And you can find this on Amazon. If you look into the history of Quilombos, you will know that these are Black, autonomous, freed communities, amen, formed by escaped enslaved Africans. So it kind of showcases Black resistance and sovereignty and self-governance. Hello. Now, it's going to have a lot of symbolism in it, okay? So you have to pay attention. Orfeu Negro. I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm working on my Portuguese accent. I don't know if I want to be Carioca or if I want to be Baiana. I don't know. I'm deciding. I haven't seen this one yet, but I fully intend to watch it. It's based in Rio de Janeiro in Carnaval season in the 1950s. The type of Portuguese that you're going to hear is mid-century Carioca Portuguese, which is Brazilian Portuguese spoken in Rio de Janeiro. And you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Apple TV and Criterion. Okay. And basically this storyline retells the myth of Orpheus, but within the Afro-Brazilian community life, which is really kind of cool, no? I mean, very musical, poetic, and stylized. You're going to be able to delve into clear mid-century Portuguese and also get this cultural immersion through samba. Okay, and now for our second group, it's urban and contemporary struggle, right? We're gonna make it a little bit more modern, which basically demonstrates modern Black life shaped by structural systems. So the first one in this category is gonna be Cidade de Deus, City of God. And this one is actually an original and a sequel. It's based in Rio de Janeiro in the 1960s until present day. What you're gonna hear is Carioca Portuguese with a bunch of favela slang. You can find this on Amazon, Apple, and HBO Max. So as far as language, you're gonna have to keep up. because it's going to be fast, it's going to be urban Portuguese. The social context here in this movie is going to demonstrate neglect from the state, structural and systemic inequality, and basically favela survival, getting it out the mud. María la Caprichosa. This one is in Spanish. I am currently still watching this. It has like, I think 63 or 64 episodes. This one's gonna be based in Chocó and in Medellin. And this one is also more contemporary, more modern. The types of Spanish that you're gonna hear, this one's kind of new to me, which is Chocuano Español, which will be found on like the Pacific coast, which is very notably African influenced. And then Paisa Spanish, which is the Spanish that you hear in Medellin, the one that I am listening to every day. And I'm like, what? And I came here thinking like, it's gonna be so easy, Ashanti, for you to understand. It's the clearest, it's the most neutral. That's what they say, right? I'm having a time. It's not that bad, but my goodness, I do have to recalibrate my ear. You can watch this apparently on Telemundo, but I'm watching it on Netflix. It might be because I am here in Colombia. I'm sure there's ways around that, if you know what I mean, VPNs and such. What I really like about the show is that it really does center the Afro-Colombian identity in modern time. So in Chocó, you're going to see strong Afro-descendant population. You're going to see, this different accent that has softer consonants and a costeño kind of rhythm, you know what I'm saying? But let me tell you about these softer consonants. They drop off the S's in the beginning of a word. And I'm just like, how can that be? How do I know what you're saying if you're dropping off the first letter? I understand the last letter or one in the middle, but the first, no, señor. What is the... No, señor. No, señor. I think that's what I'm hearing. And then again in Medellin, you're going to hear the paisa intonation. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to make fun of nobody, but I know more, which is amor. But you know what? They do it too. Instead of saying amor, they're going to say more. It's so cute. They taught me that at my gym. Actually, there's some women that I, talked to at the gym, and they thought it was so cute that I was not from here. And they were like, say this. And I was like, this. And they're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, I have lips and a tongue and teeth. I can make sounds. Anyway, lips, teeth, tip of the tongue. Okay, and so while this one is not confined to the plantation narrative, there are still things in it that make me mad. But you know what? It's somebody's truth somewhere. The social themes that you're going to see in this are a lot of racism, a lot of class mobility or immobility. And you're going to see a bunch of like regional exclusion. Okay, the next one is Siempre, Bruja. And so this one is actually based in Cartagena, again in Colombia. Okay, noticing a pattern here that I don't know why I didn't notice this before. It begins in the 17th century. So obviamente it's going to show you a little bit of slavery because it got black people in it. And then it kind of boom, puts you into the present day. And it's quite interesting how it does that. I have my critiques, but you know what? I'm just happy to see a black girl as the main character. So we'll go with it. And she's gonna be speaking this coastal Colombian Spanish. And you could find this on Netflix. At least that's where I was watching it. Do your own searching. Linguistically and, as a learner, this show does give you the opportunity to juxtapose colonial historical Spanish with modern day Colombia Spanish. Okay, this one is in Portuguese as well. Criadas, based in Brazil, but also Angola. This one is on my list. I have not seen it yet because it's really hard to find. What you're going to see in this one is Brazilian Portuguese and Angolan Portuguese. And that's pretty cool, no? Right? Like, because y'all, are you even clocking all the African countries that speak Portuguese? If not, I have a video talking about this. All the different ways that language provides access, especially if you're someone like me that is very interested in the Afro diaspora, being able to connect with people, from all walks of life through the medium of language. Watch my video because there's so much to explore out here. And so this one is hard to find because it's got a limited distribution. It's kind of exclusive, at least right now. But this movie explores colorism, domestic labor, and diaspora identity. And hey, I'm just going to say it. Maybe the fact that this movie is so hard to access demonstrates the disparities between Afro cinema and otherwise. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, so this one is called Café con Canela. And this one is also in Portuguese. Notice I said com and not con because con is Espanol and com is Portuguese. And that's how it be sometimes. Y'all really could have just made it the same thing. My internal gripes with learning Portuguese as someone who has Spanish background. All right, Café con Canela. I watched it, but to be honest, I didn't pay much attention. I got to watch it again. I was trying to multitask. I cannot. It's based out of Bahia, Brazil. It's also contemporary and is going to showcase a northeastern Brazilian Portuguese. Baiano Portuguese. I love the sound of Baiano Portuguese. Like, I actually found this on a link through Vimeo being showcased at some kind of university, but apparently you can find it on YouTube as well, and Amazon and some Brazilian platforms. Just Google it. You'll find something. Is that it centers Black women, it centers community and healing and grief. And so I found that really cool. It's definitely a slower paced movie with, it doesn't really have this like central plot to it. You're just solely being a spectator in these women's lives. And that's okay sometimes. Lastly, my favorite group, the Music and Cultural Sovereignty group. And I like this one because, we get out of the sadness and the struggle and we're able to shift into liberation, creation, and self-definition, Celia Azúcar. I can't really roll my R's that well. I can get away with the double R, but I can't do a That was the first time I ever did that in my life. I think Colombia is growing on me. Qué bien está tú. Anyway, Celia. I think that outside of like watching YouTube videos, the Celia series was the first series that made me go, I really learned a lot when I watched this. And so I rewatched it at least 50 times. And I'm gonna do it again. Actually, I'm due for another rewatch. This series, I'm sure, is no less than 50 episodes, if it's not 90. And I know that's a huge gap, but I'm pretty darn sure that it's like 90 episodes, which is great for you, because you never get bored. Anyway, I digress. So it's based in Cuba, claro. Damn books. It's based in Cuba, but it also takes you through Celia's travels and evolution as she moves through Mexico and eventually like New York City, actually. And so it starts in the 1950s up until basically present day, right? Well, the 2000s, early 2000s, the aughts. Do you know that word? Now you do. And what you're going to get is a lot of Cuban Spanish. And so you can watch this on Netflix. That's where I watched it originally, but I don't think I've been able to watch it on Netflix in a while, but you can watch it also on Telemundo. So again, VPN and do what you can. Yeah. This show gives you a dramatized version of Celia's rise to fame from before she was a baby all the way until pretty much, I think, her passing away. It centers Blackness, not in servitude. It does address racism in the industry because that is just part of our history. Enjoy. And then last, but certainly not least, okay, La Cuna del Dembow. This one is based in the Dominican Republic. I just tweaked. For what? God, I need to eat or something. It's a documentary, actually. It kind of starts with historical context, right? So it's going to start in the early 90s when Dembow was forming. And what I really love is that they give honor to someone that I have mentioned in one of my previous videos, El General, who was the father of what we know as reggaeton today, and Dembow. If you want to know more about that, I talk about that in this video here, where I explain Bad Bunny's performance from like every angle that I could think of, culturally, historically, musically. You really want to watch that. Like, come on, don't sleep. But in this video, you're going to get Dominican Spanish. Get ready. It's so tonal. It's so much fun. It's so much flair. You can watch it on YouTube, but also you can watch it on Amazon. At least I've watched it on Amazon before. It is a 2-part series. It's going to start all the way from Jamaica up until DR. It's going to give you all that context and nuance. Well, get ready to dance. Así se baila con pie, con pie, con pie. And so in my final reflection of this list, I want you guys to notice the patterns. The Spanish language media frequently centers Black narratives based in this like servitude and slavery context. Whereas in the Brazilian Portuguese media, you're going to get a lot of Black communities shown as the baseline of society, even though it's within the struggle. But the music-centered works is where we really get to hone in on, Black Afro sovereignty and self-definition. Notice what you're hearing. You're going to be hearing regional cadence. You're going to be hearing different slang variations, jerga. You're going to get the context of the colonial history that creates the present day context. You're going to notice some migration patterns, and you're going to really hear the musical intonations that influence the speech. And I'm just going to attribute that to the African influence, right? Language is geography in motion. Language is influenced by all these things I've mentioned and also the geography of a location. It really influences how that language evolves. And so if you're really serious about learning these languages, don't just study the grammar, baby. Don't just study vocabulary. You need to also study history. You need to study rhythm, power, and migration, because that right there is what really shapes how people speak. Okay, so there we have it. Thanks for watching. Nos vemos en otro video. Thanks for sticking with me. Stay tuned for more because there's so much more that I have in store. Bars. And ciao. Talk to you later.